next episode of the Her Path to Purpose podcast. And it is called, what is it called? How to Discover Your Purpose and Monetize It. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is I kind of had like some downloads recently through breath work and different things about my own journey and why talking about purpose is so important to me and why it's just something that I don't feel like we allow ourselves the space to really search and understand more of. And I will start by saying that I get that a lot of people, purpose seems like this frivolous thing. Like, it'd be nice to pursue my purpose, but I just got to survive. And I get that because I did that for over a decade. Like, I had this gnawing feeling that there was more I was supposed to be doing, that there was something calling me, but I didn't know what. And I didn't allow myself the time to really think about it because when I did, one, I had no idea how I was going to make it happen. And two, I didn't know that I would be able to make a living doing it. So I thought, that's just a pipe dream, or maybe I'll be able to pursue it when I achieve X, Y, and Z at my job. But right now, I got school loans. I got to buy food to put on the table, not even for a family, just for me. I was just trying to survive myself. So the thought of pursuing purpose just seemed, like I said, frivolous. So I really am so passionate about this because I think it's something that everyone deserves to pursue, regardless of your socioeconomic status. And I will make the case for that in this episode. And the reason it was so important to me to also talk about how you monetize your purpose is because of everything I just said. The reason that a lot of people do not pursue their purpose is because they don't believe they can monetize it. They feel like, I have to have this good job, I have to have these benefits. And if I don't, then I can't really pursue this purpose. Like, I can't do that. I don't have the capacity. I don't have the financial abilities. And I'm not saying that you won't still have to sacrifice financially. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that there is a way to monetize your purpose. And for everyone, it's going to look a little bit different. So we're going to talk about that today. But before we do, let's just go ahead and define purpose. So, basic definition. I'm going to be reading off of it, so forgive me for a second. But the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists. Like, if you are just looking at it from a human perspective, the reason you are created, the reason you exist is your purpose. I mean, that's kind of heavy, right? Like, to think of it from that perspective means that hi Tracy, you cannot you can't waste this opportunity. If this is why you are here, what you are here to do, I mean, it's kind of a big deal. Now, psychologists say purpose is an abiding intention to achieve a long-term goal that's both personally meaningful and makes a positive mark on the world. Now, that I really resonated with because I knew that in the jobs I've had, that I was making a mark in some way. I knew I was doing something that helped people. I don't really know that I could have had jobs had I not known that, had I not had a sense that there was a greater purpose to my role. Now, that doesn't mean that what I was doing was necessarily my greater purpose in life, and that there is a difference there. There absolutely is, and I'm not saying it's wrong to only pursue jobs that align with your greater purpose. But if you are doing that and you feel the way I did, where there was this gnawing feeling, there was something saying, there's more though. I know we're serving people in this role. I know that we're doing something to help people, but there's more. Then, my friend, I'm going to make a case for this entire episode as to why you are meant to answer that calling, why that is not accidental, why that unrest inside of you is there for a reason. And I'm just going to say it. It's because you were not created to just come here and get a good job. Even if that job is a part of your greater purpose to serve people, that doesn't mean that it is all that you are here to do. And I feel like we, as a society, have really, what's the word? Prioritized, really valued, really upheld this American dream of get a good job, provide for your family, have a family. That's your purpose. And for past generations, yeah, okay, that was the case. That doesn't mean it's still the case for you. That doesn't mean that just because that was fulfilling for your parents, for your grandparents' parents, that it's supposed to be fulfilling for you. And if you feel this itch, if you feel this gnawing feeling, you owe it to yourself to pursue that, to answer that calling, to answer that gnawing, if you will. Now, how you know what your purpose is. The irony is it's usually the thing that you are the most dismissive of. I personally think that purpose is a greater contribution to the world using your innate gifts and talents. And while I don't know everybody's, faith that's watching this or will listen to this, there is this story in the Bible that has always stuck with me. And it is the story of the master who gives three different servants talents. Now, they're referring to talent as money, but I take everything literally. So I took it as, yes, they were given talents. And what they were, I think it was three. I can't even tell you where it is in the Bible. If anybody knows that, go ahead and drop in the comments for other people to see. I can't tell you. I don't do details, but I do stories. But they were given these three talents, and he just, okay, go off. I'm going to leave, and when I come back, I'll check in with you. And one person buried their talent because they didn't want it to be wasted. They didn't want the master to come back and them to not have that talent. And I don't know what happened to the second person, but I know one went out and multiplied that talent like tenfold. And when the master comes back and asks for, what have you done with what I gave you? The one who had buried it says, okay, I have what you gave me. And the other one says, I have all that I have multiplied from this talent. And the master basically says something not nice to the person who buried it and said, how could you not make more of this? How could you not reap or sow what you reap? I don't know how to say it. But anyway, the point is, how could you bury a talent? And again, I took that very literally. And I know I just butchered the story. Like anybody who is in the Bible is going to be like, yo, that was a very bad interpretation of it. Bear with me. The point is, you were not given and you were not gifted with innate talents for you to go bury them or for you to confine them into a good job that you are making fit into something it was never meant to. Basically, you are confining your talent, your gifts, into whatever gives you the best health insurance or the best retirement. And I want to be very clear. That is all a part of our journey. All of this is a part of our journey. So if you're doing that, I'm not knocking you. But what I am saying is, if there is a gnawing in you, you have to answer yourself. You have to know thyself. If you do not feel a gnawing, don't listen to this. Ignore me. Stay in your good job. Stay in whatever you feel is the best. Matthew 25. Thank you, Tracy. Y'all, you heard it here. Matthew 25 is where that story is. Please go look at it. Even if you don't have a Bible, go look at it so you can actually get the full effect of that story. But I hope you get the gist of my interpretation of it, because I think it's so important. And I don't want to, like overemphasize this or oversay it, but you are called for more. And you know that by the feelings that you have in the moments, the quiet moments when no one else is around. Maybe it's when late at night, if you're a parent, when your kids are asleep, you finally have some quiet time and you're scrolling on Instagram or you're watching the Real Housewives of something, or you're zoning out. What are you zoning out from? Maybe you do just need time to relax, but if there is something nudging you, poking you, then you know there's something else for you. You know that there is a calling on your life. And there is nothing to me more tragic than a person not answering that calling. And I have seen those people since I was a kid. I have encountered them since I was a kid. And I was so focused on not becoming one that I did. I put so much energy into avoiding that I became that. And I remember thinking when I was, and I don't remember what the specific situation was. I just remember talking to someone and them talking about all the things that they could have done, they wish they had done, how they didn't feel fulfilled. And I just remember thinking, that is the last thing I want for myself. That I would get to 50, 60 and say, this isn't it. I don't know what I was supposed to do, but this wasn't it. And it's too late. Now, I want to be very clear. It's not too late. It's never too late. If you are breathing, it is not too late, my friend. It's just not. And here's the beauty of grace. And here's the beauty of free will. Because I've thought a lot about this and thought when I first left my first employer, I had like a lot of resentment and a lot of bitterness about things that had happened, how things kind of went down. And at the end of the day, the person I really had the most bitterness and resentment towards was myself because I had underestimated myself. I had ignored my own intuition for so long. And there was no one to blame for that but myself. And that's who I was really upset with because I had known that was not where I was going to be forever. I remember like at one point someone had told me, this is the only job you're ever going to need. And no lie, I said one thing. In my head, I remember thinking, I'm not going to be here forever. I don't know where I'm going to be. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know this isn't it. Not because there was anything wrong with the job, not because there was anything wrong with the people I worked with. That absolutely wasn't the case. I worked with some amazing, amazing people that I learned a lot from. But you always have free will. And the beauty and grace of life is that when I finally did want to answer my calling, when I finally wanted to just say, you know what? I don't have all the answers. I don't know exactly how this is going to play out, but I do know I have to do this. I have to devote the next however long part of my life to helping other people release their limiting beliefs, release the things holding them back from pursuing their greater purpose. I saw things in such a different light. I saw all those years that I tried to fit my talents and gifts into jobs and roles and do work for others, use my gifts and talents for the sake of other people. Not that there's anything wrong with that, as what allows me to speak to people who are in the same situation I was. So I had wanted to start a podcast for years. Now, I had heard about podcasts years before. And you would think, considering one of my dreams was to become the next Oprah, that the minute I heard of a podcast, I would think, I wonder what that is, or I would explore it. Or the minute I heard about YouTube, it would occur to me, oh, I should pursue that. But I was so in the weeds of proving myself at the job I was in. I was so in the weeds of trying to be the best employee possible that I didn't even allow room for me pursuing a dream because it felt just like a dream. And all those limiting beliefs that I referenced were also playing it. This fear of being seen, this fear of being heard, this fear of being vulnerable. I was not open to that. I was not open to my calling at that point because I was too scared. Like I couldn't even fathom it. Now, here's the thing. Free will. What if I had? What if I had actually pursued that? Instead of, trying to find 1,000 side hustles and working as a hostess and doing everything I could just to make ends meet, what if I had put that same energy into my dream and my calling and this, I know I'm in for more. How maybe just figure this out, go towards this. Now, here's what did you know? Because of when I was introduced to podcasting, if I had done it then, because of the amount of podcasts at the time, it probably would have taken off. And I don't say that to sound egotistical. I'm not saying it because I think I'm such a better podcaster than other people, but it's timing in a lot of situations. And I think that it would have had a lot of success. But I have free will and I had a lot of limiting beliefs. But that's okay because, again, now I get to use the last 12 years of corporate experience of learning to ask for what I'm worth, learning to set boundaries, of learning to heal and the power of healing to the purpose that was always there. It never went away. It never went away. So, how you find your purpose is how you use your gifts and talents, the ones that, again, seem so simple to you. For me, it's talking to people. It's people opening up and sharing their vulnerabilities with me. That has happened since I was a kid. Like people have, I'll say unloaded, but that sounds kind of has a bad connotation. But people have told me their deepest, darkest secret since I was a kid. And I don't have a reason why. I really don't. I do know that as I have gone through my own experiences in life, I am less and less judgmental. And I do think that that allows people to feel safe to open up to me because there are not a lot of things that I can't, on some level, I may not agree with, but on some level, I can't understand where the other person is coming from. And while I am judgmental at times, I do try very hard, especially when I'm interviewing people or talking to people, to reserve that judgment and understand them as a human and where our common ground is. That is my gift. That's one of my gifts. Being vulnerable, another gift. That one I've had to work on and it's grown, but it is something that I have innately. And the other thing is a desire and a deep, deep empathy for other people, a desire to see people live their full potential. That's why I loved being a manager. I loved being even a waitress, seeing people happy, making people happy. Like that is something that has always been special to me. Now, the thing is, I thought, I can't monetize that. Like I can't. That works for Oprah. It's not going to work for me. I don't know how I'm going to monetize that. Coaching. Having a podcast. Like there are ways to monetize it. But if you come from a belief system that work can only be labor, that work cannot be purpose driven and purpose based, then you are going to close yourself off to the ways that you can pursue your purpose and get paid for it. So understanding what your purpose is one thing, right? What are the things that come the most natural to you? What are the things that you feel the most joy doing and that doesn't feel like work? Can I tell you how many times I would go cold call someone and just catch them in the middle of their day when they just needed to get distracted and they would sit and talk with me? I had cold calls that would turn into an hour and a half. Now, I can say this now. That doesn't necessarily mean they became clients because I was much better at getting stories than I was business. I mean, I'm just going to call it like it is. I'm just going to say it like it is. All right? It is what it is. But that never felt like work. I would leave those calls and I would just think, oh my God, I can't believe I get to have conversations like this. Like, this is amazing. How do I do more of this? That feeling is the gift and the talent within you that leads to your greater purpose. And the purpose being that you are using that to help and serve others in some way. Because I'm sorry, whether you think that you are the most selfish person or not, you're not, but you are here to serve in some way. We all are. We are not here to do life alone. We are here to do life together. So whatever your calling is, understand whatever your gifts and innate talents are, they are within you to be multiplied. Not to be buried, not to be hidden, not to be confined to something that you think you should do. And anytime you are confining your gifts and talents to what you should, that is a clue that you're making yourself smaller. Oh, you're so welcome. You are making yourself smaller because anything that is a should is a conditioned or a learned concept. Isn't that the beauty of kids? Like they don't have any concept of should. They also don't have no concept of like can't do something. Like, it just doesn't occur to them. And we always look at that and think, oh my God, that's so beautiful. It's so wonderful. Well, we were kids once too. Like, we all started that way. This ain't a chicken or the egg. Like, you started that way too. And at some point, you learned, oh, I have to, or I should do this. If it's easy for me, maybe it's not important enough, or maybe it's really not valuable. I can't make money that way. I'm going to read this comment because it makes me so happy. I needed to hear this. When life keeps knocking you down, it's the time to be reminded we can always choose love and to help others. Amen. Whoo, amen. Yes. And I truly believe the more that you help, the more that you give, the more that you use your innate talents to help others, the more fulfilled that you will feel. And listen, you can justify all that you want, like having the job that you have, especially if you have a family. That is a great justification. I am not knocking it. I am not. But I am saying that there is going to come a time where that gnawing is going to become a roar, and you're not going to be able to ignore it. And if you do, the bitterness will continue to build. You have to know your own intuition. You have to know your own self. Now, here's the thing. The reason that I really love incorporating hypnosis and breath work into my coaching is because it had such a tremendous effect on me. Tremendous. Like, I did life coaching. I had a life coach who did the mindset work, and it helped a lot. But there has been nothing that gave me bigger ahas, bigger understandings, more clarity like breath work. Like getting into my own body and getting so quiet that I can only hear myself and none of the shoulds, the coulds, the woulds, just me. And it is powerful. So if you are having a hard time focusing in on you and not hearing all the noise that you have been so accustomed to listening to, may I recommend breath work? Okay? It is tremendous. Tremendous what it does for you. Okay, I digressed on that. So now you understanding your purpose is you taking your gifts and talents and using it for service of others. Now, there are some people who say, okay, well, that's fine. I can do that, but that doesn't mean I'm going to make a good living or be abundant. I disagree. I will use my dad as an example because if ever there is a human who is living in his purpose, it is my father. That man loves history. Like, I really cannot even explain to you. Like, when I was growing up, he read history books over the summer. Like, he would compare history textbooks to see who had the most accurate information. Compare, oh, well, this one says this, but I saw in two other ones that it says this. Like, not out of obligation, out of joy. That man his dusty office is filled with history books. Like, he just loves it. And not only does he love it so much, but the fact that he was meant to be a teacher. Because if you think I'm animated, I want you to understand that came from Rick Gill. Okay? I am Rick Gill's daughter through and through. And the beauty of it, and I don't know, he's probably not going to see this, but he doesn't know this, I don't know. But he gets that performer in him from his mother, who was a performer. So imagine this deep love and passion of history plus a performer becomes a teacher. Now you would say, okay, well, you are destined to always make a low income. I think at some point that was true. I don't think it's true anymore. Not with YouTube, not with the amount of online courses that are out there. There are so many ways to monetize the talent of being a teacher. You do not have to stay in a low income position. Even if you do want to continue teaching, please do, because we need really great teachers. I don't know if you've seen what's happening, but like the people in your child's classroom are some of the most important people, or should be some of the most important people in your child's life, because unfortunately it could be a life or death situation. So, okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole because I will start crying. But just because somebody is devoted to the classroom does not mean that they should not be able to have an abundant life, to be able to do the things that they want to do, that they can go and travel, that they can go and not have to worry how they're going to pay their bills. And I think there's so many ways now, thanks to the internet, thanks to these cell phones that we carry that are basically little baby computers. There are so many ways to monetize gifts. The thing is, what have you told yourself about your gifts? And that is where limiting beliefs come in. Have you decided that, oh, well, I love teaching, but there's no way to make money in it? Okay, well, then you're right. You're going to find a whole lot of evidence to confirm that. But if you were to shift, if you were to get to the root of that limiting belief, like if I were to do a time technique on you and we were to go back and find out when you decided that, you would also see that there was a choice being made, which also means there was a choice to not believe that. There's always the option to not believe your limiting beliefs, to not buy into them. What if, now here's another one. I thought about this morning. What if your purpose in life is to become a parent, is to be a parent? And you say, well, Rosanna, how do I monetize that? You mean to tell me that everybody's a natural parent? You mean to tell me there isn't a way for you to create a course on how to be a good parent? Here's the thing. A lot of times, if that comes naturally, again, you're going to think, I can't monetize that. Who's going to buy it? Because you don't know any different. But I have had the blessing and the luck to be exposed to some people who were meant to be parents. And notice I said people because it's not just mothers. I mean, I dated someone who, when I got to know him, I just remember thinking like, this is a man who was meant to be a father. I'm gonna cry thinking about it because he was just one of the most loving, nurturing people I have ever met in my life. And I know him. He's probably not going to monetize that, but he could. He absolutely could, because do we not know of a lot of people in this world who need a father? I saw something on, I don't know if it was Instagram or TikTok. I don't remember. I think it was Instagram, and it was about this man who grew up. His father left him just high and dry when he was 13, never heard from him. So he decided when he became an adult, I don't know how long ago, to create a YouTube channel, like Ask Your Dad. And basically, it's a channel where kids that don't have a father or maybe don't have an involved father can go, and he gives them life lessons that he wished his father had given him. Now, I don't know if that man has children, but I can tell you he was meant to be a father. So I don't care what your talent is. I promise you there is a way for you to monetize it. I promise you there is a way for you to have a life of fulfillment and financial freedom and financial stability. Because here's the thing, and I know some people think, well, I don't care about money. Okay, cool. You keep telling yourself that. But if you say that, then you can't be complaining about the fact that gas is dang near $6 a gallon. You care about money then. And you can say, I don't care about money. Money's not important. All right, well, then how you paying to live? Because I don't know about you, but I got rent. I have an amazing roommate. I still got to pay her rent. Like, stop pretending like money doesn't make a difference. It does. And to act like it doesn't, I think is pretty insulting to the literally billion people in this world who are living off like less than $1.50 a day, living in poverty. Like, money does matter in this world. But there is something called the universal law of compensation. And that is, I actually wrote this down too. You reap what you sow, and it is reliant on where you serve and support from a place of love. I.e., when you use that talent, when you use that talent of yours to serve, there will be compensation. There will be. And I don't just mean in heaven. I don't just mean later. Like, there can be compensation now if you are open to it, if you allow it in. I know I just preached. I feel like I just preached a sermon. But I hope that if you get nothing else from this, that you at least take the time to ask yourself, to consider, What might be your purpose? What are you created for? And I promise you, if you're breathing, you are created for something, my friend. And if you want to use a journal prompt, I suggest, if I'm being honest, and just see what comes out. If I'm being honest, I find joy in. If I'm being honest, I love. And I don't care. I saw a video by Gary Vee about purpose the other day, and he was saying, even if you love movies, if that's all you love in the world is movies, all right, cool. There is a way that you can monetize. Do you know that there is a whole app, I think it's called Twitch, where people watch other people play video games? I'm not sure I understand this, but then again, I watch people go pick out wedding dresses that I'm never going to see in person, so I guess it's really not that crazy. Like, if people are willing to watch somebody else play a video game, maybe they'll watch you watch a movie and give your commentary on it. Just a thought. Just a thought. Like, times are changing. Work, labor is going to look very different and defined very differently in the next 10 to 20 years, 50 years than is now, than it has been the 50 years previous, because of how things are changing. And that can be terrifying to you, or it can be incredibly exhilarating. It is a choice. You have a choice in how you see it and how you view it, and how you view your opportunities in this world and what's available to you. So, if this resonates, let me know, and good luck. Happy hunting on your purpose, friends.